Hi, everyone.
How's it going?
So on the agenda, it states that Robert will be doing this talk alone. He needed a little support, so
He's shy.
No, wanted to do this more like as a question and answer session. Robert and I are fast friends. We've been friends since last year's Summit Live, and definitely wanted to take the opportunity to come up here and ask you guys some questions about working with influencers, how you use influencers to build your brand. So I'll let them introduce themselves, give them a little background, and then we'll take it away.
Basically, Mark was my neighbor last year. We came to the Summit Live event, which is the first Periscope event in San Francisco, and we were next to each other and really hit it off. And he offers the .live domains, all those domains, and he does a great job with his business. Recommend everybody have one of those .live domains, as the last speaker had. Just to give you a little bit of background, so in 2005, I was the co-founder of a company named Zagg, Z-A-G-G. Are you familiar with it? Nice. So I was the chairman and CEO, and we ran that company, took it public on NASDAQ, grew it to about a $400 million market cap, and had a lot of fun with that. I was semi-retired, and I resigned, retired from the company in 2012, and basically Alan and his wife Angela, who's our current CFO, they approached me through someone who they'd been talking about funding, and they recommended my name, and so I was able to be exposed to Lumi, and I was pretty excited about this opportunity for a number of reasons. Lumi had patents issued, and the whole concept of having lights around a mobile device was a revolutionary concept that helped with creating lighting, and I thought this is a new category that mobile accessories needs, and it's something that I actually was wanting to get involved with. And so I'm the CEO now and partners with Alan, and I thought, it was, Alan's here at the show. He was on a panel yesterday talking about lighting, but for him to not be up here with me didn't make a lot of sense, especially because we've been able to garner some celebrities and celebrity attention, a lot of celebrity endorsement with Lumi and with our product, with the Lumi case. And so we can talk about that here for a few minutes. I wanted to also share a couple of experiences I had with some celebrities with Zagg and how those came about. And it's always interesting to kind of hear the background of some of those things and how that came about. So maybe I'll tell my experience, and then Alan, you can introduce yourself more, and then talk about experience with Kim and how Okay. All right, so with Zagg, we started off with the invisible shield. It's a screen protector that protects your mobile device screen. So how many of you are aware of Zagg or have an invisible shield screen protector? All right, awesome. And so, that was kind of our mainstay, and what people knew us for were the screen protectors. But then we decided actually that we wanted to come out with keyboards for tablets, and we were the first company to do that, to come out with a keyboard, and we called it the Zagg Mate, and then later the Zagg Folio. Well, the Zagg Mate was kind of a unique product, and what it was is it was an aluminum keyboard, and in the back of it we made it to look exactly like the iPad. And so you would take your iPad and you would put it inside this, and it had foam around the outside, and you put it on the inside, and it would be like a suction. And so when you look at it, it actually looks like an iPad from both sides, and it was very good looking. And so we needed to kind of promote this and somehow convince people that we weren't just the invisible shield. We did other products as well. And I'd always had a dream of getting MC Hammer, because he was the first concert that I ever went to, was MC Hammer's concert when I was when I was a kid. And I always loved MC Hammer, and I thought, if MC Hammer could promote my invisible shield, that would be awesome. And I always thought of the song, Can't Touch This. But instead of saying touch this, he would say scratch this. So, no, can't scratch this. No, can't scratch this. No, can't scratch this. You see what I mean? Good
Catchy.
idea,
It's
right?
catchy.
Huh? You like it? All right, maybe I'm the only one. I'm getting nods. Okay, so can't scratch this, right? I thought that's perfect. So I got to somehow meet MC Hammer. I've got to get him to endorse my product. Well, so when you put things out there, like something you want to accomplish, and you don't know exactly how you're going to accomplish it yet, but at least you start with that. You start with a thought like, I want to accomplish this. I don't know how I'm going to get there. It's kind of like when I took Zach public. I'd never taken a company public before. I'd never been down that road and done any of that, but I wanted to be able to do that. And so how do you do it? Well, you start with the end in mind. You begin with your goal. What is my goal? And you begin with the end in mind. I want to take it public. Well, MC Hammer, I wanted to meet him. I ended up talking to someone one day, and they mentioned, yeah, my friend knows MC Hammer. And I'm like, your friend knows MC Hammer? Okay, that was the path. That's what it started with. So I'm going to fast forward here. I feel like standing up.
Walk the room.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So I ended up, do you mind, I've been wanting to meet him. Do you mind if oh, you bet. So I got a hold of a friend. I was tenacious, and so I got a hold of MC Hammer. And he's like, how you doing? Good. And I'm like, I'm going to San Francisco. Hey, I'd love to meet with you. He says, you bet. So we ended up having dinner. Great guy. I'm a big fan of his. And we became friends, and we're talking. And the biggest question I had, of course, is, are you going to be able to do my, promotional video or commercial where no, can't scratch this. No, can't scratch this. And he'd have a key with his, mobile device, and he couldn't scratch it, right? And he goes, Robert, I don't own that song anymore. What do you mean you don't own the song anymore? Yeah, I sold the rights. I don't have the song anymore. So I'm like, okay. So after all that, get to the end, and it's like, this is the end of the road, right? No, it's not the end of the road. It's the end of the road maybe on that idea, okay? But what I did is I established a relationship with him that it's like, we got to figure something out. We got to do something together. So after a few times of meeting him, talking to him on the phone, actually, we now have a keyboard case I want to promote. And I wanted to get it into Apple stores. And so I called him and I said, hey, do you think you could help me get into Apple stores? I know, they're in San Jose, area, San Francisco. Do you have any connections? He goes, you know what? Actually, I do. He goes, I did a free concert for them, and they owe me a favor. And so I bet I probably could. Let me make some calls. I said, you bet. Awesome. And so I ended up flying in. He set up a meeting with Apple. He did what he said he was going to do. And we went in and we presented the keyboard case. They were excited about it, but they were more excited about MC Hammer being in there. And all the buyers from all the different divisions came in to me. They all just wanted to take pictures with them. And I'm like, remember my case over here, remember the product we came here for. And they, yeah, it's cool, but MC's a lot cooler than that is. And so anyway, we had the meeting. The meeting went pretty well. We didn't end up getting into Apple, but okay, so now you go end of the road, right? We're done with that celebrity. We're done with that opportunity. No. So we're out in the parking lot, and Hammer goes, so are you taking off right now? And he says, yeah, I'm just going back home to Salt Lake. I live in Salt Lake City, Utah. And he goes, I said, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm actually flying out to Chicago. And I said, oh, okay, cool. What are you doing out there? And he goes, oh, I'm going to be on the Oprah show tomorrow. You don't hear that every day, right? I'm going to be on the Oprah show tomorrow. All right. You're kidding. Okay, this is what we're going to do. You're going to promote the Zagmate on the Oprah show. And he goes, okay. And I said, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to show her. I go, what's the segment about? He said, it's about Where Are They Now? Have you seen that? Where Are They Now? So they kind of go back to the first time she was on the show, and then like years later, 10, 20, 30 years later, like, where are they now? What are they doing now? So that's what it was. It was a follow-up. Where are they now? And so I basically, on the back of a napkin, we outlined like, okay, he goes, okay, if I'm going to do this, you're going to make it worth my while? You know, what's in it for me? And I'm like, okay, fair enough. That's huge exposure, right? He's been a friend. He's helped me. He's awesome. But, you know, if he can benefit from this, I'm like, you bet. Let's do this. So we outlined, I said, okay, if you show the product, it's worth this. I'll give you this. If you say the name Zag, it's worth this. If she says the name Zag, it's worth this. If you can get a quote, if you can get her to say something, it's worth this. Okay? Like a positive comment, not like this sucks, but a positive comment, okay? It's worth this. And he goes, okay, you're on. And I'm gonna stand up. Sorry, I'm just antsy. And so he said, okay, you're on. I'll do it. And so we outlined it. The next day, our whole office is watching, you know, Oprah. And we're all excited. And you know, MC Hammer comes out. He's looking really good. He's business suit. And she's like, now you're all about business now, aren't you? And he goes, yeah, I'm doing business. I'm consulting. Working with different companies. And she goes, so like, what are you working with? What companies? What are you doing? He goes, well, my favorite, and the one I'm working with mostly, is Zag. And she goes, well, who's that? Well, they make the invisible shield. Okay, cool. And then he pulls out the case with the keyboard case with the iPad already in it. He pulls it out and she goes, wow, that's it? Okay, that's good looking. Ching. And then he said, watch this. And he throws it down on the ground. And she's like, and it was the whole audience like, oh, throws it down on the ground. And then she goes, what are you doing? And he picks it up, and she goes, wow, so it's a really protective case. And he goes, yeah, but that's not it. And he opens up the case, and there's a keyboard inside. And it's like, again, the audience is like, oh. It was like an infomercial, seriously. It was an infomercial. And she goes, okay, so who makes this? Zag? And it says right in the back, yeah, Zag. Like they go back and forth. And in my mind, I'm like, that's awesome. Like, wait a second. Ching, 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 you know? And because he's going to add all this up. And then she says, so it's a keyboard. It's a case. You put the iPad. So how does it work? So she puts it on her lap. And you know, the iPad. So it goes like this. And Zag's on the back. You can totally, you know, see and they're zooming in and everything. And she goes, you know what? I want one. I love this. Drop the mic, right? It was great. Okay, so our website crashed. Too many visitors. It was game over, all right? Best Buy, we happen to be selling invisible shields in Best Buy. The buyer calls me and says, I saw your keyboard, because they said, no, we're not interested in the keyboard case. The buyer calls me and says, I saw your keyboard case on Oprah yesterday. Yeah, what'd you think? All right, we'll give it a test. We're in. We ended up being the #1 keyboard maker in the country for tablet computers. Okay? So, did he make a difference? Was it worth every penny, right, that I compensated him for? Because we then had a discussion after, right? He did not even leave the studio. He called me right after. So, what do you think, huh? I'm like, yep, you hit it out of the park. Nice job. And he goes, okay, I'm going to start adding this up. So he had the passion. He had the passion for, you know, the relationship. He had the passion for the product. He had the passion for what it did. He believed in it. So it was not a promotion that, like, he didn't believe in. There was nothing fake or false about it. He loved it. He loved who he was representing and how he was representing and why he was representing. He loved it. He made a huge difference. So, just a little story. Then Oprah went on, she told other people about it. It's a snowball effect. We had a similar experience with Lumi. I'm going to let Alan tell the story of Kim Kardashian, and then later signed a contract with her about a year ago, and she's been a great partner, Kim Kardashian. So I'm going to let him tell that. So that's one story. So if you think, is it possible? It is. It's possible. If you think it, you can achieve it. That's my story.
So that's a tough act to follow. And I'm probably not going to stand up. So back in time, we launched the Lumi case just on our website, and somebody sends me a picture of Kim Kardashian. They email me and said, is Kim Kardashian using your phone case? And I don't think so, but I look at the picture, and sure enough, she's got a Lumi case, and I was like, holy crap! Like, what can we do with this? And then we quickly realized we didn't have to do anything. We had 10,000 followers on our Instagram page, and she has 80 million followers. So there was no benefit for us to put it on our page. And not to mention the legal ramifications of that. She's got a vicious PR firm, and they will come after you, with everything they've got if you're using her image for, your commercial purposes. So we decided not to use it, and then she was spotted at the Grammys using it, and then her PR agency, it went into Business Insider, and her PR agency came after us. Like, you pitched this idea to Business Insider, and we're like, take it down immediately. We're like, we didn't even know this was going on. They just took the picture. She was using the case, and somebody photographed her from behind so you could see the lights on. And the website went crazy, and people discovered it, and they said this is the title of it was, "This is the secret behind Kim Kardashian's great selfies." It's like we couldn't have written that better. So we told them we had nothing to do with it. They left us alone. Fast forward to, we were giving cases, probably our best promotion has been giving cases to influencers, because it's the lowest cost, highest denominator, or highest achieving promotion we could do, because they show it to their friends, and then their friends buy it, or their friends want one. So
or 50% off here at the show.
Right, or 50% off. If you buy two, you get an even better deal. But I'd gotten a call. So in the early days when I was doing the fulfillment and the order taking, I'd go online and an order would come in, and I'd print the thing and pack it up and ship it out. So I would stalk the people from LA, because those are the bigger influencers. So the first order that came in was from Crystal Hefner. I'm like, that couldn't be, So I Google her address, and what came up was the Playboy Mansion Gates, and with a big H on it. I'm like, oh, this is Crystal Hefner, Hugh Hefner's wife. So, I wouldn't do anything. I would just sort of like, oh, that's cool. And then I got one from Shelley Azoff, an order from Shelley Azoff, and I'm like, I wonder if that's Irving. Like, I know Irving Azoff, who's the manager of Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, all these big bands. And sure enough, his wife was ordering cases, and a half an hour later, she called me, and she said, can you provide like 100 cases to the Forum? I'm the GM. We're putting together gift bags for our A-list, bands that come through. So U2 is coming next week, and Ariana Grande is the following week, and Madonna's coming, and I put together these great gift bags with cool stuff like, my favorite chocolate and tequila and whatever she puts in there. So she goes, I love these, and I said, how did you find out about the case? And she goes, oh, well, Khloe Kardashian, I saw her last night at the Sam Smith after concert, and it's like, I'm thinking, what? Like, this is crazy. And she goes, and she said, oh, I just got this, I love it. And she goes, I have to have it, I have to have a gift bag. So we sent her 100, and 2 weeks later she calls me and she says, we have to talk about some notes that we're putting in the gift bags. And then she goes, oh, by the way, Kim Kardashian asked me if I could talk to you about partnering together. Would you be willing to talk to her next week? She's in Paris now, but she's flying back on Thursday, and can she call you? I'm like, sure, I'll talk to her. Which is a crazy thing to get on your phone. And then I would take pictures of she called and we talked, and and then the attorneys get involved, which is like, that's endless. But So she goes, oh, you should talk to my mom. Can you talk to my mom tomorrow? And then I want her to be involved. And so then Chris calls me the next day, and then I have two, emails from Chris and Kim Kardashian in a row. So I had to take a picture of that and send it to people. Like, look what's in my inbox. So so we got excited about that. Of course, she'll put you on the map, and they were using the case in Keeping Up with the Kardashians every week anyway. So Sunday would get this huge hit on the website, and sales would go through the roof. They weren't mentioning it, but they were using it, and people would just sort of search organically and find it.
I don't know if anybody knows. Have you seen? So our case has lights on it, okay? And so they would use it on the show, or they just have it on their phones. The new Duo has lights on both sides. You can use it for better photography both ways. And you can actually dim it. You can make it go brighter. And so, anyway, that's the product. But yeah, she was using it on the show organically anyway. And I think she finally felt like, I love their product, and they're getting milk for free. I need to, form some kind of a partnership.
Right, and I think that's the key is it's the sort of best kind of celebrity endorsement, somebody who uses it anyway, because people will believe that. It's not like every picture she was holding up some weight loss thing, and she was just using it and liked it. So why not monetize? From her point of view, why not monetize it? And it was one of the few things she really liked that that she used all, and she still uses it all the time. So that deal fell through. She got pregnant, and the whole thing went away. We're like, oh, we're so close. And then she was in Vogue magazine and took a picture of the editor and mentioned us, and they gave us a hyperlink in Vogue. And it was like, wow. So I sent her an email. I would send her cases every couple months, keep in touch, and just send an email like, congratulations on this. And she would always write back. She would always say, oh, thank you, or, quick, a note back. So I wrote a longer letter that said, thanks so much for the Vogue mention. We really appreciate what you've done for us, and we just want to let you know we've never used your likeness or image in any of our promotions because we value your intellectual property. That's her. Her brand is her, right? So we haven't used that or taken advantage of that, and then she wrote me back and she said, I still love your product and I still want to be involved. Let's talk to Todd, my attorney, and we'll see if we can get this thing going. So that was maybe September, and by December, Robert and I flew out there, and she gave birth the next day after we left her. Yeah. She had a sinus infection, and she was like
very, very gracious. She's a lovely woman, and she actually had no makeup on. Her hair was like in a big bun. She had runny nose because she'd had a cold all day. And instead of easily, anyone else would have canceled, and said, I'm so sorry, I'm sick. But she was like, you guys flew out here. I wasn't going to cancel with you. And she's, 9 months pregnant and literally had the baby. It was like 2 days later. 2 days later, yeah. And so very, very gracious. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had from then we've had a great working relationship, and she gives us input on cases. We go out and talk to her. She does Snap stories about us, and then she went dark for a couple months, so that was kind of a drag. But now she's back, and we're looking to do other collaborations with her. So it's an ongoing thing, an ongoing story, I guess.
Maybe, Alan, some of the other, I don't know if, Mark, you had a question as well, but some of the other influencers, maybe celebrities that we're working with.
Well, as far as the great thing about Lumi is, as you can see, I don't know if the slideshow was up there, but every week somebody sends us a picture. I mean, what's her name? Adele mentioned it at her concerts. People are like, I just had an Adele concert, and she held up her Lumi and talked about it. I'm like,
yeah. And then someone else had a Lumi at another concert. They said, I was at the concert, and someone had a Lumi, and they were trying to take a selfie with Adele in the back. They were like on the front row, and Adele's all, hey, a Lumi case. I've got one of those. I love it, So very natural.
But if you have a product that you're selling or promotion, and somebody's talking about it, just let them talk about it, because they're going to do all the work for you. You don't need to promote it on. You don't need to take their likeness and put it on your website. That's only going to get you in trouble, and people will find out about it. Let them talk about it, or give it to your friends who have lots of followers and have them post it on their site, because then they're just talking about it. You're not using it on your site to promote yourself.
So
You can't say on your website anywhere, used by Kim Kardashian, but you can on your press page, like the articles that happen to be.
No, we can now, but at the time we couldn't.
And that's something that I really respected about Alan and Angela, like being very, like more so than I probably would have been, I'll have to admit. Just in terms of like if a celebrity is using your products, like we have a picture of a celebrity using our product, let's put it on our website, you know? And they were very cognizant of, you know, we have to have permission and we would never want to offend them. And I'm like, that's cool. That's really cool. So you don't get the short-term benefit, maybe, but the long-term benefit is you're forming a relationship of respect. And later they're like, you know, like Alan pointed out, like we don't use your likeness without permission. And that went a long way. And it ended up being a relationship thing. And so, you know, why did Kim end up actually forming a partnership with us later on? I think a lot of it is a relationship. And it comes down to people. I mean, you know, you have multi-billion-dollar companies or brands, but there's still people that are behind them. It's all people. One-on-one, individual, and forming that relationship. And that's what ultimately matters.
So I wanted to ask you guys, because ultimately I think, correct me if I'm wrong, these results are not typical. Like,
Really?
I mean, for me as a company, I mean, our company, we try to work with influencers as well. You know, and there's this concept of
Yeah,
working.
we've been fortunate, right?
Right.
I mean, it's...
You know, there's this concept of working with micro-influencers, but I would say Kim is well outside that. You know, she's probably one of the biggest influencers, you know, to use that term. You know, out of anyone, maybe Taylor Swift and Adele.
She has
right
the
up
most
there, right?
Instagram
So,
followers of anyone. right
I
now.
mean, there's
World.
a price for that.
Sure, and so that's what I wanted to get to, right? Like, it's at what point does the cost of working with someone outweigh maybe the negatives that could come with that? Like, we've had people come to us and like, hey, yeah, you can, like, we want to get into the e-gaming industry. Like, there's a lot of money in that, right? Esports. So, you know, reaching out to a lot of these teams to get them to use our domain names. And like, yeah, we'll do that, but you have to pay us $500,000 just to use your product. We're like, oh, well, we actually think this product's beneficial. Like, we're helping you, right? Like, so how do you have that conversation with someone and like maybe buy down your investment maybe a little bit? Is that something that you guys did with MC or Kim to say, you know, we'll give you product, but we want a discount off of our investment, sort of thing? Or is there anything that you guys did with that?
I think she has an entry point, but she was also getting, you know, $500,000 for one tweet.
Yep.
So we're a startup company. So we sort of, you know, went in hat in hand, like, listen, we're not Coke or Pepsi, so we're not going to be able to do the same deal that they're going to be able to do with you. So you're going to have to take a little bit of it on faith, right, that you really like this brand and we're going to grow together.
And give her a piece, and then she has to believe in the brand and the people behind it.
Right.
And so that's really more what it is it's convincing them that this is something great we're going to do together as a partnership. Right. And, you know, if you get to the point with celebrities that money really isn't as important as fulfillment.
Right.
And what am I doing with my time? And is this fun? Do I enjoy the people I'm working with and what I'm doing? And so in working with celebrities, that's the number one factor.
Yep.
Like, do I want to work with these people? Forget the money, put the money aside. And that was like our biggest selling point, is like, we're going to be the most fun people you will ever work with.
You also have to want to, I mean, you also have to want to work with them.
Right.
Because if they're going to be a diva or they're going to be somebody who won't return your call, then it's not worth it. So that whatever that money is probably not going to be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have some amazing stories, right? Like, I would love to just look up one day and see, you know, the big, like, let's just say, for example, PewDiePie, right? Like, everyone knows him in live video. There's been some negative news about him lately, but I wake up and he's using PewDiePie.live and promoting it everywhere. I'm like, yes, score! You know, and it came out of nowhere.
Right.
So you guys have some amazing stories. I could sit here and listen to you guys talk for the rest of the day, and maybe I'll stop by your booth and have you guys tell me some more stories. I appreciate you sharing your experiences with influencers. I think you guys have a ton of experience, and if anyone is interested in getting started with working with influencers, definitely go chat with these guys at the Lumi booth, and go get your guys' Lumi case for sure. 50% off, right?
Thanks,
Yeah.
Mark.
Thanks, guys. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
And thanks, Ryan, for Summit.live and hosting a great event. So great job. Thanks, everyone.